So, hi everyone. Welcome back to Conversations with the Planets. And Lori and I are live on TikTok right now. We just recorded an episode talking about medical astrology and the zodiac man and correspondences between zodiac signs and parts of the body. And we have some folks that are here live with us. And so we're doing a live Q&A. And if you listen to the recording of this, feel free to comment if you have additional questions. We tend to keep a pretty close eye on the comments, and so we can answer questions in the future as well. But definitely looking forward to engaging with folks who are here with us live right now too.
Yeah. So somebody asked, do you recommend calendula?
It depends on what the circumstance is. I Calendula is a really fantastic all-purpose herb. It is not safe to take internally if you're pregnant. And it is also part of the aster or the daisy family. So if you sneeze when you're blowing dandelions, the aster family,
Mm.
it's like sunflowers and daisies and dandelions. It's a common allergy. So if you're someone who's allergic to calendula, I definitely wouldn't recommend it. But calendula is really nice. A little goes a long way, but keeping calendula around and putting it in your tea blends, like just a few little calendula petals, can be really, really nice for moving lymph through the body, kind of cleaning out the body, boosting the immune system. It promotes pelvic circulation, which can help if you have like a sluggish period. It supports digestion and can just help your body better digest food. And it's also just like this sunshiny, uplifting herb. Topically, calendula is really, really well, internally, it's also antimicrobial and antifungal, but topically, it can be really good at cleaning wounds, helping wounds
Mm.
heal, and particularly healing scar tissue. I put calendula salve on my incisions after my knee surgery, and you can barely see them now. So calendula has a lot of really good like first aid uses. Um, but it kind of just depends. Like if you're someone who needs help with your digestion or needs help with pelvic circulation or moving the lymph, or you need it topically, then I would recommend it. Or else like just sprinkling it in your tea a couple times a week. But if it's not like indicated for you, then like don't take too much of it either. If any of those health issues aren't relevant to you, then I wouldn't necessarily recommend calendula.
Yeah. Perfect. Somebody
And it's
said my
also
in
great
oh
to
god.
grow in the garden. I'll say it's really fun to grow if you
Mm.
have a garden. So, last thing I'll say about calendula.
Oh, I love that. Someone said my in-law got feet problems, numbness on his feet. He's a Scorpio. Does he have any Pisces placements or anything else? Any herbs that you recommend for postpartum mom? You did come to the right place here.
Yeah, I'm 6 months postpartum. So calendula is great for sitz baths, especially if you're pretty freshly postpartum. It can be really nice to do sitz baths with calendula, with raspberry leaf, with a little bit of rose in there. If you had any tearing, mixing a little bit of comfrey into the sitz bath can help heal that tearing up. I'd recommend you wait until like at least 2 weeks postpartum before putting comfrey in, and use just
Mm.
a little bit because it like excess can cause issues too. But comfrey was like the only thing that helped clear up my tearing.
Mm.
Um, if you're breastfeeding, shatavari and moringa can be really helpful and nourishing to take internally to help encourage breast milk production. Um, oh my gosh, such a good question. Honestly, I would love to do a whole episode on postpartum herbs because there's so much out
Yeah,
there. And
we
I don't know if
could.
yeah, we should. And I don't know if you
Yeah.
were here earlier when we were talking, seeing a naturopath and getting blood work done to identify like how your thyroid's
Mhm.
doing, how your cortisol, like your amygdala is so big postpartum, and you're just like, are you breathing? Are you alive? So it's like there's a lot of hyper awareness that can be really draining for us.
Mhm.
Especially if you're breastfeeding, your baby can be taking like all your iron stores. You
Yeah.
might be low in B vitamins. And so getting blood work and working with a naturopath to really identify imbalances in your body can really help target what you particularly need is because like postpartum is like at least a year of recovery. It's a long time for our bodies to kind
Yeah.
of figure out what's going on, and herbs can definitely help. Um,
Yeah, she said 12 weeks.
Oh,
Second degree care.
congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see if anything else pops in my head. But yeah, calendula is really, really good. Hibiscus is great and it's safe with
Mhm.
breastfeeding. Um, Milk thistle can be really good for helping your liver with like all of the hormone processing you're doing. Yeah. And raspberry leaf is just always really good internally and as a sitz bath.
What sign has gut health issues? You're gonna see gut stuff show up in Virgo and Cancer mostly. Virgo rules the digestive system as a whole, and then Cancer rules the stomach. Um, but yeah, we definitely spent a lot of time talking about that in the two episodes, so they will be posted. Herbs that are beneficial for Libras.
Libras, I am a Libra, so I'm like,
Yeah.
what would really
These are all great questions for you.
these are well, one that's just great for most of us to work with is rose, right? Libra's Venus ruled, and so sprinkling a few little rose petals in your tea blends, like a little goes a long way, but rose is like really good heart medicine, both like literally and energetically. And so it can really help kind of bring the softness and sweetness that Libra really needs. Also not an herb, but electrolytes, like just getting enough
Hmm.
salt in your body to help and making sure you're drinking a lot of water to stay hydrated. Linden is a really nice moistening herb. And then this can be really overstimulating, so be careful, but nettle seeds are indicated for the kidneys in particular. And Libras do need a lot of help, like nourishing their kidneys. So definitely like check if you're on meds, if you're pregnant, breastfeeding, have any medical conditions. Nettle seeds are really strong, so make sure that it's like safe for you to take them. And
Hmm.
like imagine that you're hiking through the forest and like picking seeds and like take a few, not like a ton, and take them in the morning. But nettle seeds can be really nourishing for the kidneys, which can be really helpful for Libras.
Yeah. Um, awesome. I'm scrolling up a bit. Is Libra kidney? Yes.
Hmm.
Um, they do something similar prior to ayahuasca sessions to enhance the experience. This was about me talking about basically starving myself accidentally,
Mm-hmm.
which is
Yeah,
really interesting. I've heard that before, and yeah, it's funny what your body does intuitively when you feel like you need to do something. Somebody asked about digestive and gut health again. We just answered that. Um, let's see. Maybe one of the wonderful things that happens with Saturn placements is youthfulness later on in life. A lot of people are commenting their placements.
love that.
Yeah. Capricorn rising with mineral and iron deficiencies affecting hair and teeth. Yeah, that makes sense. I
And
noticed when we talked
no,
about Scorpio, there were a lot of Scorpio risings that popped in here.
that's cool. And one thing, because with Capricorn, we've been talking a lot about like absorption issues and just
Yeah,
an inability to like even absorb what you're taking, which is
right.
really common with iron issues in particular. And what I found is the most effective, and like I got this was advice from my midwife when I had low ferritin when I was pregnant. Like I commonly
Hmm.
see people reiterating this when they're talking about like how to make sure their babies get enough iron is timing when you're taking iron to maximize absorption is really, really important. And like that's very
Mm,
Capricorn. And so
yeah.
iron is best when it's taken with vitamin C to help absorb it and without calcium. And so if you're, eating iron rich food or I really like the mega food blood builder supplement. I'm like not paid to advertise for them, but I just think it's a good iron supplement. So if you're
Yeah.
like taking your iron supplement, taking it at least an hour after having consumed any dairy or anything with calcium, and then waiting at least an hour after taking the supplement before taking any dairy because calcium inhibits iron absorption. And then like taking it with a glass of juice or just something with vitamin C in it. Um,
Yeah.
can really help maximize your body's ability to absorb iron because if you're taking an iron pill and like your multivitamin that also has calcium, it's going to be hard for your body to actually even absorb the iron you're taking in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I did notice when we were talking about Capricorn, there were so many comments about EDS or about iron deficiencies or
Hmm.
absorption of medication and that kind of stuff, especially when we talked about Capricorn moon. So definitely, like, I'll reiterate that real quick. If you do have a Capricorn or Scorpio moon, which is the fall and the detriment of the moon, you may not absorb your nutrients like a normal person or like your body needs to. So just being mindful of that and trying to take in a little bit more supplements and stuff like that could be really good.
Mhm.
Um, Somebody asked about herbs for beauty.
Hmm. I'll say rose again.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Rose is just really commonly used in a lot of beauty products. It's a beautiful plant. Integrating it into like offerings to Venus or like a little Venus altar,
Hmm.
especially if you're, trying to just enhance your beauty or feel more beautiful or more confident with your beauty. Like working with Venus and offering some roses to her can be really helpful for that. And honestly, I'll say calendula too is a really fantastic skin herb using calendula. And also back to the postpartum question as well, calendula is great for nipple balms. A lot of nipple balms
Mm.
have calendula in it for like sore nipples from breastfeeding. But calendula can also be great for like, like a face wash with calendula, which you could literally just make calendula tea and like put it on your face and it can help like nourish your skin.
Hmm.
um yeah, and then if you have, this isn't specific to beauty, but tied in, if you get like dark bags under your eyes, eleuthero as an herb can be really helpful. I take eleuthero as a tincture in the morning. And it's a pretty strong herb. So if you're pregnant, breastfeeding, on meds, anything, like confirm it's safe for you to take eleuthero, and then make sure you're taking it in the morning because it works with the cortisol a lot and can be kind of stimulating if you take it later in the day. But eleuthero is like indicated if you take it every day for like a month, it tends to make the bags under your eyes go away and also just help move on from burnout. And definitely not
Yeah,
having bags in your eyes could make you feel more beautiful.
yeah. Um, Hi Marie. She said, I second the blood builder that worked well for me when I used it, and OJ.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's
Um,
pretty gentle. So, like, you can take the blood builder supplement on an empty stomach and it won't hurt your stomach, which then can also help maximize the absorption. And it
mm.
doesn't, like, some iron supplements can cause like constipation and indigestion. And I haven't ever experienced that with blood builder.
Yeah, cool. Can you talk about cat claw?
Cat claw. That is actually not an herb that I work with. So no, I cannot talk about it.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think I've even ever heard of that one.
I've seen tinctures for it, but
Yeah,
I don't know much. So,
awesome. Does anybody else have any questions or herbs to help stay more grounded? Great
that's a
question.
really good question. Um, Nervines in general will just help like calm your nervous system down and help you feel
Mhm.
grounded. I really like skullcap, which is good as a tea or a tincture. It's pretty easy to grow in your garden. And it's what's called a neurotropho restorative, which means that it's helping actually rebuild your nervous system and like
Mm.
restore frayed nerves. And then it's also just like calming, like a cup of skullcap tea. I'd recommend trying it for the first time in the evening in case it does make you sleepy. But that can definitely help kind of bring you back into earth, like your body, and bring you back down. Wood betony as well, which if you observe the way wood betony grows, it grows really close to the earth. And while like a lot, it's in the mint family, and a lot of mint family plants love to like move all over the garden, but like wood betony will like stay in the same place for like decades. It's a very grounded herb. I was taught that it can even help if you're like having a bad trip or like a bad psychedelic experience, giving yourself or whoever's having that experience wood betony can bring them back into reality. Um, yeah, those would be the two. But really, any calming nervine, like even chamomile, can help you feel more grounded, and it's really easy to find everywhere. There's a reason it's so popular.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And
Um,
also any root herb, just from like the literal energetics of roots are very grounded. So like dandelion root, burdock root,
yeah. Somebody just
ginger
said dandelion, right,
root.
as you said that.
Yeah, uh-huh, totally.
Yes. Thank you so much for both of your astro insights. You're
Yeah, thank
welcome.
you.
Drank raspberry leaf tea before birth and delivered 4.5 kilogram baby naturally. Wow.
That's incredible. Yeah, raspberry leaf tea
Crazy.
is really, really, it tonifies the uterus. Like it just kind of gives the uterus
Mm.
support to be able to give birth. I also drank a lot of raspberry leaf tea when I was pregnant and had a pretty successful unmedicated birth. So, and raspberry leaf, it's best if you steep it overnight. So, like set up your tea before you go to bed, pour the hot water on it. I just leave mine
Mhm.
on the counter. You could put it in the fridge if you want. And then in the morning, you can strain it and drink it because it's really high in vitamins and minerals, and the minerals in particular need time to be extracted. And so, and then especially if you're pregnant or like people who have menstrual cramps, raspberry leaf can be really helpful for menstrual cramps because a lot of times menstrual cramps are caused by mineral deficiencies. And raspberry leaf not only tonifies the uterus, helps your uterus kind of figure its stuff out, but then also is giving you all these nourishing vitamins and minerals to
Mhm.
help.
Yeah, she said since you mentioned it's good for postpartum too, I'll go back and drink it.
Yeah, definitely. It's like your uterus is figuring out a lot after you give birth, and so it can just really help. And I don't know if if you've gotten your period back or if you will at some point, but it
Yeah.
can really help just with menstrual cycles as well. So definitely drinking raspberry leaf um is good. Really good.
Someone said, "Are there herbs to tone down my Scorpio Lilith?"
I
I
feel
love
like I
that.
need more context as to how your Scorpio Lilith is
Yeah.
showing up. But probably.
Yeah, same. That's funny. I actually went live with Lila earlier today and we talked about Lilith.
That's funny.
She's been coming up a lot.
Yeah.
Um, any other questions? Any specifics? Is chamomile increase milk supply?
That's a good question. I don't know if it's a galactagogue or not. One herb that is coming to mind though is blue vervain is a good galactagogue and it's very
Mm.
calming and relaxing. It's extremely bitter, so I tend to prefer it as a tincture to kind of get it over with. But that can definitely help with milk supply. Also, another postpartum herb that I am surprised I didn't think of before is motherwort. It's just good for any sort of
Mm.
mothering things. Also very bitter, so I just put a little bit in my tea or tincture is really good. Um, with milk production, I would really recommend making sure you're drinking enough water, getting electrolytes every day. Acupuncture can really help with milk production, making sure you're getting enough sleep, which is very hard postpartum, but like it is necessary. Um, all of those sort of things can really help with milk production. I would be cautious of exploring too many herbs on my own for milk production because some of them just like make your milk more watery or like just do weird things if you're not being targeted of like why exactly you need milk production like you it's kind of a very individual thing for each person's body. Shatavari and moringa were also both recommended to me, particularly if you're like menstruating and lactating, because your milk supply can dip when you have your period. And so taking
Yeah.
shatavari and moringa during that time can help with the milk. And then I don't know, I actually haven't read the research on this, but milk thistle is really good for lactating moms.
Mm.
And I would guess just with the name, it probably helps with milk production.
Right.
But yeah, acupuncture, drinking enough water, getting enough sleep, and
Yeah.
eating like eggs, like lots of eggs, lots of dairy, drinking milk, unless your baby, some moms, their babies struggle with milk, but really like nourishing your body. Like we need more calories when we're lactating, making sure you're getting enough iodine and choline specifically as well if you're a lactating parent.
Yeah. Well, even if you're on your period too, in general,
Yeah.
I just scrolled all the way up and I've noticed all the Scorpio comments while we were talking about the Scorpio stuff, but I was recently talking to Lila about ancient Chinese medicine and like things that they would tell you for your period. And they were just saying in general, like eating warm foods or like comfort
Mhm.
foods and not anything that's like cold or raw and just like
100%.
really trying to like realign yourself if you're having these like inconsistencies.
100%. And like in traditional Chinese medicine, that's like very, very big in like Chinese culture for postpartum moms eating like these traditional, like really warm, nourishing meals and like not supposed to like be catching cold energy. It's like all like warming and building. And there's a book called The First 40 Days that goes into that and also
Mm.
has some nice recipes. That would, yeah, it's specific for postpartum, but I think it would probably be helpful for menstruating people too to get like those hearty stew type recipes.
Yeah. Well, and just like they do recommend eating more calories when you're menstruating or
Yeah.
just yeah, just trying to bring more in to allow the body as it's letting things out.
Hmm.
Fenugreek will increase. Let's see. Currently, that was a reply to somebody else.
Yeah, I'll say, and that's like fenugreek is an herb that comes up often for milk production. And that's one of the ones where I'm like, if you
Mm,
know your specific situation is indicated for fenugreek helping, that might be a good one to explore. But just taking like a mother's milk tea or like kind of blindly taking these herbs, sometimes it can just like make your milk really watery or actually not help as much as you think it does. So
mm,
I have heard of people who've also had issues with fenugreek and their milk production too. So that's
mm.
where like finding a naturopath or an herbalist who like really specializes in postpartum and like breastfeeding care and then getting targeted work, like getting your blood tested, knowing what's going on with your own system is like really what's going to help make sure that you're, like my naturopath looking at my blood work and saying that my elevated cortisol is suppressing my prolactin in my system. And so then how do we bring my cortisol down to actually bring up my prolactin, which we're doing with taking ashwagandha every morning. So it can really just depend on your own personal situation.
Yeah. Yeah, and every like I think that's the whole point of the medical astrology stuff is like everybody is so different
Yeah.
and your like your chart is like a fingerprint, like your makeup is so nuanced and individual to you. So like every body is going to need different things. And so just
Hmm.
like listening to what works and what doesn't work is going to be so important in general.
Totally. Well said.
Yeah. Um, they said, but then again, do I really want to tone my Lilith down? Still evaluating.
Sounds like you answered your own question.
Full circle to the Lilith
I love
question.
that.
Yes, that's so
Well,
funny.
I'm hearing my baby screaming downstairs, so I should probably go. So if there's any final
Okay.
questions, maybe we wrap up in the next
Yeah,
minute
we'll
too.
do a little last call for questions. I'll give a minute to respond. I've been really enjoying these medical astrology conversations. These have been
Yeah,
great.
I've been enjoying this a lot. Thanks everyone for tuning in with us.
Yeah, someone said amazing insights. Thank you for
Yay.
listening.
Yeah. And again, we're Conversations with the Planets podcast. You can find us on Instagram and YouTube and like Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. We're Conversations W Planets. And we are about to start releasing our season 3 episodes. So you can go subscribe to us, and then those we're gonna announce the date soon for season 3 release, but probably sometime soon when Mercury's in Gemini. And we have a lot of episodes already on like what do the houses mean in astrology, tending to your nervous system with herbs and astrology, planetary magic, lots of different asteroid stories and talking about myths and lots of
Yeah,
like different like astrological techniques. Lori and I are both Hellenistic astrologers, so we talk about sect and annual perfections and
a
yeah,
lot of
just all these
technique.
different techniques and phases of the
Yeah.
moon. So go check us out.
Yeah,
Um,
we've been doing a lot with myth and asteroid work
yeah.
lately. Um, and Alicia's now stepping in to help me run NCGR's asteroid research group. So
Yeah. And that
that's
meets on the
fun.
second Tuesday of every month. So yeah, if you just like
Mhm.
look up NCGR asteroids, you can find the info on that. but we'll be meeting in a few
Yeah.
weeks for that. So that would be fun to see some of you guys there.
Yeah, and we do have some comments real quick. Amazing insights. Would love to join when you guys go live again. So interesting. Want to hear more. Thank you. Awesome community you're cultivating. Thank you.
Aww, I love that.
Um, Me too. Yeah, we're recording 3 episodes next week, but 2 are with other people, so probably won't go live for that. But we are recording on Tuesday, so maybe we'll go live for
Yeah,
that one,
maybe.
potentially. Maybe. We have to figure out what we're talking about first.
Yeah.
But I am going to post. I'm gonna get pretty good at posting beforehand and letting you
Nice.
guys know when we are live. And then you guys are welcome to join us as we do our episodes.
Yeah.
It's been fun to do it this way.
Yeah, this was really fun.
Yeah, Kitty, my psychopath over
Kitty,
here.
Leo.
Awesome.
Okay, thanks everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you have any personal stories to share or thoughts and reflections about what we discussed in this episode, please comment down below or reach out to us on Instagram. And please come follow us on Instagram at ConversationsWPlanets, where we share forecasts and updates about the astrological movements happening in the sky, as well as updates about our episodes. The link to our Instagram is in the show notes down below.